Could really want to hang around there forever. But yeah, so every milestone that she encounters, you know, you try to add some new goals to your daughter and everything. So she hasn't figured out how to talk, but she has figured out how to make noises. So you try to teach her how to be more expressive and explain to you what she wants with facial expressions, which she seems to have more of than a normal German. You know what I mean? That guy looks pretty scary. I need to fix this controller. It's got a little walking thing. That irritates me a lot. Alright, so that's the guy who was Count Waltz's second in command and drank the potion and turned into a big monster. Alright.
Okay, you're all ready for this, right? Let's go!
Yeah, let's do this shit.
How pitiful, you soulless creatures.
Knocked our attack down. Killed her. Uh-oh.
Here, this is hard. Corona Stream! You finally catching on?
Killing our attacks. Nice. way too early.
Yo, thank you. Now let's get going.
I should use Frederick to charge things up. He's the weakest guy.
Midnight Cloud. Eclipse Gaze.
Spirit's pathway.
Take care.
Dijon Fulminant. Forget the pain you felt in a dream.
Corona Stream. You finally catching on. Luna Stream. How was that?
Dijon Fulminant. Forget the pain you felt in the dream.
That's right, worship it.
This will be a hard lesson. Dijon Fulminant. Spirit's pathway.
Deadly orbit.
All right, here we go.
Deadly orbit. Shadow silhouette. Luna Stream. How was that?
Ouch. Why do I keep doing that? Oh my goodness. I gotta spend all the time charging up again.
Midnight Cloud. How was that? From heaven and shatter the earth. Deadly orbit. Shadow silhouette. Midnight Cloud. How was that?
Ouch.
The mother of darkness shall entwine you in her tresses. Midnight Cloud. Eclipse Gaze.
Dijon Fulminant. Forget the pain you felt in the dream.
Deadly orbit. That's right, worship me. Oh, it's nothing.
It's very important that you block everything you can, because he'll kick your ass otherwise.
That's right, worship me.
This will be a hard lesson. Dijon Fulminant. Spirit's pathway.
Shadow silhouette.
Got him. That's what I'm talking about.
That's better.
Much better.
That's much better.
Beat somebody with a Chopin. It's never good when there's a save point right like where a bad guy was standing. That means like you beat a regular bad guy. Not that he was too hard, but he did present a challenge at the beginning. Although I don't understand where the harmony chains come from, I just wait for the animation to happen and I get ready to prepare for harmony chains.
Wait, Frederick. Hey, where are you going?
What, you guys weren't gonna go in there? Final chapter. I'm the type of person, when I see the end of something, I get like super juiced. And it's gonna kind of stink here because I'm not gonna be able to move forward, right? Like at some point, my daughter's gonna wake up. It's gonna make it very interesting.
Consciousness is fading away. He will find, without fail, that he comes face to face with his own soul and must challenge it. It is the one moment when we are able to look directly upon our naked selves.
Naked.
I no longer have any doubt in my mind that, for me, that time has now come.
Sucks.
Don't you all understand? You're nothing more than fictional characters that I've created in my mind.
Uh-oh, he's the bad guy.
Frederick, what are you doing?
When I'm defeated in this battle, the truth will be born in this world, and a fleeting dream will transform, slowly filling with color. And only when this ordeal is finally overcome, will my soul at last be allowed to leave my physical body. Then let us test it.
All right, then.
Whether my spirit can become a lance, capable of piercing through every one of you.
That metaphor was a little weird. Stick to musical metaphors,
We'll
buddy.
see if I'm truly such a weak human being. This entire world is my dream. I will not let you destroy it. Don't
Wait.
take all day. Ye who walks above the wings of the sky and travel by riding the clouds, appear. Orzel Biali.
Oh, I should have blocked it.
It takes but a moment. Don't worry.
He's gonna do it to everybody?
Orzel Biali.
Ouch.
How pitiful. You soulless creature.
You finally catching on. How was that?
Did your stomach drop?
Orzel Biali. How pitiful. You
You finally catching on.
Shadow assault!
Shit, Yusef?
Orzel Biali.
I didn't
How
block.
pitiful.
Now
You
let's get going.
soulless creatures.
You finally catching on.
Applaudissements Sonic.
He's only attacking a leg, bro. That's funny.
You soulless creature.
How was that?
Oh, he's got some pretty cool techniques, though, I gotta admit.
Did your stomach drop?
You finally catching on.
Orzel Biali.
Shit. Keep blocking too early.
Pitiful. You soulless creatures.
Okay.
You finally catching on.
Applaudissements Sonic.
Got it.
You soulless creatures.
Gotta stay behind him.
Nimbus Stratos. You foolish creatures.
Grind them to pieces with
Stratos! You
Hurt.
foolish creatures!
Oh no, I don't have any more power-ups. I'm in a lot of trouble right now.
Did your stomach drop?
Carry them away to the riverside, to the water's edge. Nimbo Stratos! You foolish creatures!
My words, the moon becomes a mirror. Its light becomes a piercing flame. Lunar stream. Full moon vines. Take care.
Starlight blast!
Nice.
Applaudissement Sonic!
Man, when
How pitiful. You soulless creature!
Lunar stream. How was that?
Thunder is in the heavens. Lightning illuminates the fields. Nimbo Stratos! You foolish creatures!
Are you looking down on me?
Did your stomach drop?
You finally catching on?
Orzel Biali! How pitiful. You soulless creatures!
The mother of darkness.
Alright, let's do this.
In her tresses. Midnight cloud. Full moon vines.
Sky divider! Have a nice nap.
Alright.
You finally catching on?
Applaudissement Sonic! How pitiful. You soulless creatures!
Did your stomach drop?
Nimbo Stratos!
Got
You
me.
foolish creep!
Going for the wing dinger now.
Applaudissement Sonic! You soulless creatures!
My words, the moon becomes a mirror. Its light becomes a piercing flame. Lunar stream. Full moon vines. Lunar stream. You finally catching on?
Got him! That's what I'm talking about. Game cleared data. You can save the game cleared data here. If you load the game cleared data, you can start the game from this status. View the ending, start new game. You cannot restart the game from the last save point. Huh? Since it's the end, I'll keep my mouth shut.
I was not able to defeat you. After all, I'm glad.
Polka?
Stay back. Allegretto, I'm sorry that I didn't tell you about this before. I couldn't tell you I didn't think you'd take me here if I'd explain why I wanted to come. You see, I remembered. I now know the path that I have to take.
The sea. You will jump into the sea.
Oh, Mom. I can finally see what your kindness was always hiding from me. Mom, you were the one who blurred all my memories, weren't you? No. The reason I couldn't remember was because I didn't want to worry you, Mom. I guess I was subconsciously hiding them away inside myself, behind the dark clouds that hung over my own feelings.
It is your fate to go into the sea.
Yes, my fate is to go into the sea. We lived our lives looking away from what was too difficult to face. We ignored everything hurtful and only saw what we chose to see. The world we created and nurtured in our hearts became increasingly real over time. Eventually, it became so real that it clouded our eyes and hid the small truths that were all around us. Just like the shining of the stars is blotted out by the glare of the city lights. And to think it was part of my own memories. Mom, you watched over me all this time, making sure I didn't go down the wrong path. But after I left home, after I left you, I realized something. I realized that all this time you were guiding me down the wrong path. It's because of your love for me as your daughter. I'm grateful, Mom. But still, you have to realize one day that water doesn't necessarily always flow downhill. It can sometimes become a high tide and surge up into the past, pushing a small stone upstream.
What? I'm sorry.
This is the right path for me. And at the end of it, there lies a fate I cannot escape. The time has come for everything to be settled. It's my destiny, maybe even my purpose. No, it's nothing as passive as that. It's something I have to decide for myself, all on my own, right now.
Polka, wait!
It's okay. There's a place out there where I'm needed. A place that I have to illuminate, with the shining light of the Astra that lies sleeping within my heart.
Don't do it!
I must do this. And it's for the person who means the most to me. My life is nothing compared to his. Doing this is easy if it's for him.
Is it God or Chopin? Is Chopin God in this? Oh my god.
Polka! Ah! Why couldn't I do anything? What should I have done for her? Does this mean that dying was the only thing Polka could do? There wasn't any way we could save her? Why did Polka have to suffer? What did she ever do to deserve that? What is wrong with this world? Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! You come barging into our world without asking, and now you leave just because you feel like it! This is your dream, right? If it's a dream, then why don't you do something? Please. You have to do something.
A dream. Is this really a dream?
Thank you, everyone. I know it didn't last very long, but really, this was the best time I've ever had in my life. If I blow him a kiss, I wonder, will it reach him up there? I hope so. I really do.
Can human beings who create waves of ugly desire ever become like the seawater that's stirred by the beauty of the moon?
No one wants to touch someone like me. Someone who can use magic. After all, they might get sick too.
Well, of course the bread you're eating is much more important than the bread of a stranger. Huh? Wait. How is it any different?
All around us, the world is fading at an incredibly rapid rate. And yet, you say you aren't able to see it. Well, perhaps there's a reason for that. Perhaps you can't see it because you are fading away even faster than the world.
If you're conscious of the fact that you're having a dream, and you can actually say that this is just a dream, then can you really be sure that it's a dream at all?
Can a picture taken through a bent piece of glass called a lens really accurately reflect what happens at a single moment in time? It seems to me that your eyes would have to be pretty bent themselves for that to be possible.
Something that people think is useful but can actually be harmful in the long run? Well, the only thing I can think of right now is mineral powder. But I'm sure there are lots of other things out there. Maybe if you think about it for a while, you can come up with some things that I don't know about.
I think that everyone knows deep down that some things that might seem useful to us right now could actually be hiding a danger to the future. And yet there are many people out there who simply refuse to accept that. Are people really so foolish that they aren't willing to sacrifice those little conveniences for the sake of the future?
If people are too deeply involved in a problem, is it really not possible for them to realize what's wrong until it's too late to do anything about it?
The standards for justice in this world are decided amidst the driving ambitions and turbulent emotions of a small handful of people who just happen to possess the greatest influence. Well, you certainly have been born into a difficult era.
A lifetime to build, a moment to destroy. Will human beings ever become masters of creation, or are we only destined for destruction?
Destruction.
I was acting out a part up until the moment I died. Do you plan to spend your whole life pretending to be someone you're not? Are you sure you know the difference between things that can be forgotten right away, like letters written in the sand, and really important things that must never be forgotten, like words carved into stone? It's an important distinction to make.
Without realizing it, people tend to act in ways that suit their own best interests, and before they know it, they've turned all their efforts to seeing just how powerful or successful they can become. It can't always have been like that. Things must have been different in the beginning. Try to remember the feelings you had when you first started out.
Can't we make better use of the energy we spend maintaining our feelings of mistrust? There must be a way. If we could all do that somehow, I think it would make it much easier to live a life filled with light.
When I realized that I had no hope of beating Claves, I ran away. What about you? Are you like me? Do you run away from situations where you know you can't win too?
The view of Retardando is so beautiful at night. But which part of that view is the most beautiful thing about it? The flickering of the city lights below? Or the twinkling of the stars in the night sky above?
As the leader of Baroque, I am responsible for making the people of my country suffer under the fear of impending war. The citizens of Baroque are innocent people, whose only crime is living in the kingdom I rule. And there are others in this world who suffer similar misfortune. Remember to be very grateful if you are lucky enough to happen to live in a country at peace.
I believe that the future holds infinite hope for all of us. So no matter what the odds, however slim the chance, I always try to hold on to that hope. I would never want to give up on something without at least trying. What about you? What would you have done in my place? Would you still draw a fortune if you already knew what it was going to say? Suppose you could not be sure whether or not there was any ground behind you. Knowing that, would you still have the courage to take a step backward? At certain times in life, does it not take much more courage to take a step back than to take a step forward? Would you be courageous enough to do it? If you live with your eyes closed to whatever is difficult to face, does that mean those things don't exist?
People with brightly glowing astras always have to suffer in the end. Is the place where you are a miserable world like that? Don't you want to change it? You can't just sit back and accept a destiny of death. You have to fight back, resist. You have to try as hard as you can. After all, that's what life's all about, isn't it?
You can give up when it's really, truly, absolutely the very end. Until then, you gotta try and do whatever you can. I guarantee that you still have time.
That's right. You still have time.
Absolutely. Now is when it really begins. Just take a moment to steady yourself.
I know what it feels like to have a future filled with doubt. To feel overwhelmed. To think it's all over. To want to give up on everything. But there's no use just thinking about it. You can't hesitate. You need to act upon it. Since in the end, all you can do is try as hard as you can.
You don't have to rush. There's still time. You have infinite potential after all. I promise you, even now, you can still do it. All you have to do is the very best you can. I guarantee you still have time.
Death is a reality that is far too real. I've walked this dreamlike journey within a dream, so that once and for all, I could accept that. And now, at this moment, all things shall reach their finale.
Mr. Chopin's time of death, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Mommy, why are there waves in the sea?
Well, darling, there are waves because of the moon.
Because of the moon?
That's right. The moon charms the water in the ocean with its beauty. And because the moon is so beautiful, the seawater just can't sit still.
Is that true? Really?
Really? Don't you feel your heart start fluttering inside of you when you look at the moon?
I do! What about the puddle? Will it make waves when the moon comes out too?
No, dear. There's not enough water. You need lots and lots of water, like the ocean, before it can make any real waves.
Oh, I see. But that's weird. Why can't a little bit of water make waves too?
I won't let you die, Polka. After all, you've only been alive for 14 years. A 14-year-old girl must live her life.
The amount of water is the most important part of creating waves. That can be said about people as well. There are many things in this world that can charm people's hearts, just like the moon charms the sea. Things like wealth, vanity, status, image, and power.
When the sun is out, they hide in their buds and then open their blossoms only when it is truly important.
Bigger and stronger.
Drawing in even the faintest amount of light, they decisively embody it. In doing so, reflect something that people can never see.
The number of people grows.
They wait for the moment when the world is trapped in darkness, and then blossom with glowing light.
Terrible conflicts.
On the grassy plain, they paint a picture of the star-filled night sky that was blotted out by the city lights.
I guess.
Isn't it pitch black around you? Isn't the world covered in darkness?
What if something like that
Now,
ever were to happen
come.
in your life?
It's 2 o'clock in the
Choice
morning.
might be to jump into that sea.
The time for you to blossom has come.
Because when you do, those big waves will calm down.
Do you remember?
It may be
You said it was up to me
difficult, but
whether
if
I
you
wanted to
try
call
your
them
best,
Heaven's Mirror.
You'll bring joy to the
Definitely.
person who means the most to you.
Really?
I'm still allowed to choose, am I not?
Okay!
Well, then I shall make my definitive choice. Right now.
Though it's insulting to compare
That flower that so resembles you.
the ugly
That
waves
flower that boldly challenges the darkness. I choose to call it Heaven's Mirror.
Oh, Mommy, I'm sorry, but I think someone's calling me.
I see. Then you must have met the person who is the perfect match for your Astra. Well, he's the person that you choose to believe in, so I'm sure he must be wonderful. I did so want to see you on your wedding day. But now, I suppose the only thing I can do for you is to tell you this. Come back someday and do your best.
Okay, Mommy. I'll see you later then.
Have I been able to become more like the seawater that is stirred by the beauty of the moon? Thank you, Polka dear. Please, be happy.
It's Polka. She's glowing.
Polka.
this is Yusef for Dad's Free Time Let's Plays, and I want to thank you for watching my playthrough of Eternal Sonata. If you have any comments or whatever, please leave them in the comment section. You know, I'm always trying to improve, like this game's trying to inspire you guys to improve. I'm trying to improve, so give me suggestions, comments, things like that, please. I'm not perfect, and surely not gonna cuss anybody out. Never. I never was very good at cussing people out anyway. I mean, listen to this voice. Anyway, the end of the game is weird for me. Like, I have a problem with games like this because they're trying to inspire you to do something, but they can't be very specific as to what they want you to do. So I'm sure the writers have an idea of what they want you to take from it, but then they have to change it so that it's so vague that you don't understand what it is they're trying to tell you. I mean, first the game seemed like it was more a commentary on how the world is, you know, but now, you know, as it ends, you know, Chopin's life ends, you know, so he decides he's gonna turn and try to fight people to justify him living in the real world. I mean, he figured out. I mean, I'm probably getting this wrong because I tried to understand it and it was very it was very difficult. But it seemed that he found out, he was very convinced that this was a world from his own making, and when he turned around and decided to fight everybody else, that's when it all became clear to him that he was going to use the battle to live or die in the real world, right? And as he fought in this battle, he realized that he was going to die either way, right? So him dying in the fake world because we beat him led to him dying in the real world, or at least accepting his fate as a dying person. Now, when Polka decided to jump off the edge, I was pretty confused about that, because she seemed like she was talking about God, and her purpose in life might have been to sacrifice herself for the others. I wasn't sure, because they brought up God a little bit earlier when we were fighting all the bad monsters, correct? So that leads me to believe that this whole story had a godlike influence when they wrote it, you know, which brings it to some sort of religion in the spirituality of things, right? So when she started talking about him and stuff like that, I'm not sure if she was talking about God, like the real God that people believe in, or she was talking about Frederick Chopin, the person who basically made that world that they all live in his dream. Yeah, it was really confusing. And then right when she falls off of the edge, she's reborn. She's reborn and given back to her mother to start the whole cycle anew. You know, as if it's some sort of reincarnation. You know what I mean? Like, she dies, she's reborn, but everybody else stays the same. You know, and what, is she reborn, or she like reincarnated to do the same story for somebody else who is dying? Is the realm of Eternal Sonata supposed to like be her just basically growing up and waiting for other people that are dying, so that when they go into comas, they can go through the whole story that Frederick Chopin did? and to realize their death is going to happen, or when he decided that he was going, or when Frederick Chopin decided in death that he was going to continue the world that he created, or that simply the world that was created didn't stop for him, and he woke back up and brought Polka back to life. I mean, it's very weird. The ending of the story has so many different questions that you could ask. It makes it very difficult to focus on the main narrative. You see what I mean? Like, once I get about 4 or 5 questions going unanswered at once, I can't pull it in. And I'm not the type of person to watch these endings like 7 times. This ending basically went for like an hour or so. So, I mean, I beat the guy in like 15, 20 minutes, and then I beat Chopin like 5 to 10 minutes, and then the ending pretty much went through the rest of that. So, I do believe that you as a person should work harder and try harder to do whatever it is that you're supposed to do, and do your best and all of that. But I mean, come on now. Did we? Are you really saying something? Anyway, so if you guys have a better understanding of the game, please let me know. I definitely will be looking things up to try and understand. Maybe Wikipedia will explain things to me, but it was very confusing for me. And you guys have a nice time. Free Mac Martin, shvoop de voop, peace.
One day, the caterpillar asked the snail, "Mr. Snail, you know many things. Could you tell me what kind of shape is the shape of life?" The snail nodded and answered, "Well, Mr. Caterpillar, I think that maybe life is red, like a ripe tomato." The caterpillar laughed happily and said, "No, Mr. Snail, I didn't ask about the color of life. I asked you about the shape." The snail nodded and pondered, and then he answered, "Well, Mr. Caterpillar, I think that maybe it has a sweet scent, like a pot of honey." The caterpillar let out a disappointed sigh and said, "No, Mr. Snail, I didn't ask about the scent of life. I asked you about the shape." The snail nodded and pondered and thought some more, and then he answered, "Well, Mr. Caterpillar, I think that maybe it murmurs like a babbling brook." The caterpillar finally broke down in sorrowful tears, shook his head, and said, "No, Mr. Snail, I didn't ask about the sound of life. I asked you about the shape." The snail nodded and pondered, and at long last he finally answered, "Well, Mr. Caterpillar, I think that maybe it has a sharp, sweet flavor, like a juicy cherry." Losing his patience, the caterpillar grew very angry and said, "If you don't want to answer me, then fine. I'm not going to ask you any more, Mr. Snail. Goodbye." And with that, the caterpillar turned around and went home. When he was gone, the snail nodded and said, Oh, Mr. Caterpillar, you already knew the answer. Happiness, disappointment, sorrow, anger. These are the sights, smells, sounds, and tastes. Life can take on many different shapes.